38 wins, Dan.
38 wins. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to 101 on Arsenal. And today we're going to do our famous yearly predictions for the top 10 games. And most of the guys have already sent me theirs. And I've got, obviously, Gary and Vince's got to go through theirs. Ebony, for some reason, Ebony hasn't sent me hers. So I'm going to leave that one blank. But I got pretty much everyone else's here. But before we get into the predictions, let's say hi to our guys and just talk about, in general, what their expectations are. So, Gary, how are you, bro? I can see you just smoothing off the whole Starsky and Hutch thing there.
I don't know if that's moving. I'm just trying to keep the sweat out of my eyes, bro.
I've got no lie.
Too damn hot in London today, man.
I've got a 4-inch, it probably is a 3-inch or a 4-inch fan, which is about 4 feet away from me on top of my printer, just blowing air. That's the only thing keeping me cool, bro. And then I got the West Indian.
My front door's been open all day, and I've literally just shut
the West Indian grape syrup there. I got the syrup there, the Grace.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Excellent. Dan, what's going on? Danny Bones in the house. What's happening, bro?
Yeah, man. All good, man. It's been too long.
Yeah,
it's been hot. It's been hot in Yorkshire as well, but I don't feel like it's that hot.
Man, shout out your channel for everybody. Yeah, shout out your channel.
I'm not even doing it no more. I'm just a normal person. Yeah. I'm just a normal, average Joe, living my life, bringing up my family and working. You know.
That YouTube channel was legit, bro.
Yeah, man. I done it for about 2 years. I stopped ages ago, but too much headache, man. As you know.
You know what? I'm not going to lie, because yes, I do know. And everyone knows I've got another channel which I do movies and TV reviews. And when my illness of the lungs hit me last year, that was the first thing I had to drop, because I've only got 1,000 subscribers on it. Whereas with this one, it's nearly 10,000. So I had to chug in and keep the Arsenal channel going. But that one I dropped. And I've been trying to get back into it. When Loki season 2 hit, I'm trying to get back into it. Then some DC content, Crisis of Infinite Earths came out, tried to do it. When the Deadpool Wolverine movie came out, I said, I'm definitely going to do it. And then kind of half got the prep done, but never did it. And it's just like, I've got now a mental block for me to make videos on that channel, which I got to get over. So I totally understand, man. But life is
time commitment. Time commitment. It's the time commitment, dude. We're busy people, you know. So yeah, life's good. Everything's good. You know, can't complain.
It takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do an Arsenal video, but it takes me about 4 hours to do the TV movie stuff, because there's so much that goes into it. If you look at my reviews, they're so in depth. Then I talk about Easter eggs and have everything in there. And I think sometimes I look at myself on a Saturday evening, it's 5 o'clock, and I think, right, I'm ready to do it. And then I walk around the house, see stuff that needs done, and I'm thinking, I can't commit 4 hours to doing a movie review. So that's why the Deadpool stuff ain't got done, man. Vince, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm not bad, man. I'm all good. Just good to be back in the family. Coming to the end of the summer, so I've just been busy doing a lot of stuff with disabled golf. Yeah, man, I wish my game was up to scratch, but it's just nice to be at this stage where you're seeing the Arsenal do the business and seeing new kits coming out. It's just it's anticipation for a new season, so it's nice. I'm just behind on my NFL. I've got to get the NFL stuff.
Excellent.
I'm running for us.
I know. I said to my wife yesterday, because it's like we've been so busy catching up on TV stuff and catching up on All American, as you guys know, the American football show on CW, catching up with some K-dramas and catching up with some movies as well. We were going to watch A Quiet Place 2 tonight. I said to her, sorry, honey, I'm streaming. So we've had this, like, there's no sports. We've sat down and watched the Olympics together, just spend a lot of time. Now, NFL started up. Formula One's on a break, so that's not a problem. But NFL started up. Premier League started up. So on a Sunday, normally I'll watch the Formula One race at 1. I'll watch Arsenal's race at maybe like a 2 or 4. And then NFL kicks off at 6 a.m. So Sunday, I'm done. Like, no one don't see me for dirt when it comes to sports and that. So yeah, it's one of those things, man. Mr. Francis, shout out to you. He's bigging up all of you guys. He says he's fine because I believe Arsenal is going to do great. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts is, man, in terms of your top four. Yeah, we did ours on what's today? Today's Monday, so we did that stream on Friday where we did the top four predictions and we had a look into all Premier League teams. But today, our focus is solely on Arsenal. Emerson says, good evening, Apollo, Gary, Vincey, and Dan. I'll put my prediction in the chat. So yes, I will make a note of it. In fact, hold on, Emerson. Let me try and work my magic on this table. Yes, I have. I'm just going to put your name in now. Right. Emerson. Right, good. I've just put your name in, so you're actually in the table equation with us. So as soon as you put that stuff in, I will get that sorted for you and highlighted so that when I post it on Twitter later on today, you'll be on there as well and on the forum. So guys, let's start with Gary. Gary, how's our summer going at the moment? What's your thoughts? Are you happy with what's happened, or?
Yeah, I'm happy with the business that we've got done. I'm still not happy about Smith Rowe being let go, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
you're like a dog with a bone, innit? You're not letting that one go, man.
Everyone's got their opinions in it. That's just the way it is. But yeah, I think that could prove to be a mistake. But it's done now, and we move on from that. Obviously, we spoke on yesterday, didn't we, about business taking so long due to obviously the European Championships, because ideally you want to get these players in so they're ready to hit the ground running, all up to fitness by the first game of the season. Yeah. Marino's obviously is about to be done this week, so he's going to be 2 or 3 weeks off of the pace. Rice and Saka only returned last week, so they're going to be a couple of weeks into the season before they get fully up to speed. But on the whole, like we said on Sunday, I'm not too concerned about the spending 60 million plus on a striker. I think we've got enough going forward. And with the people like Marino coming in and Calafiore just making us stronger at the back end in midfield, I think we've got more than enough going forward. So, yeah, overall, happy with it. We've got rid of a couple of players, obviously. Brooke Norton-Cuffy went today, and I believe Arsenal received £2 million for him. So that's another little couple of million in the kitty. So yeah, overall, I'm happy. A happy guy.
Excellent. What about you, Danny?
Yeah, I'm happy, but I'm kind of realistic with where everything's at, because the reason transfers are slow is because of this PSR stuff. So we're now having to operate mad sustainably. So that's making everything slow. We're having to wait for outgoings to get incomings, and it's all really techie like that. There might be like the budget there that they're holding onto for some big transfer,
there is,
like
yeah.
Osimhen or something like that.
But, so what I've been told, and I said this to Gary and the rest of the guys already, what I've been told from my sources at London Coney is the budget is there. We can't give a figure because realistically they're working out of let's try our best to be sustainable. And because, guys, we have to remember for the last 5 years we've made losses, and that losses are just not sustainable for a business.
Big losses.
So what they would like to enter an era of positive in terms of gross profit rather than another negative effect.
They actually put out a statement saying that they said that very thing, like the Cronkies are going to operate sustainably like this year because of the big boy spending we've had. Even with all of that, I'm not really fussed because look at where we are. We're as close as we can be to winning the league without actually winning the league. Yeah, you can't get any closer than we have the last couple of years. And what are we trying to overcome to win the league? The biggest cheating scandal in sporting history. So you can't really like be too pissed. It's like I was watching the Linford Christie documentary. Yeah, it's like racing Ben Johnson. Brilliant?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like racing Ben Johnson and finishing like how this year's 100-meter final finished, where it's just like a tip of a toenail or something difference between them. and then being disappointed that you didn't beat the biggest steroid cheat in Olympic history. But it's like you were 0.1 off the biggest steroid cheat. So that's how I see it. So really, it's not. I know like there'll be City fans that if they ever saw this, they'll be like, oh, Arsenal fans crying and all that. But really, that's what it is. Like they want to mask the whole thing, but it's mad. It's mad. You can't compete with that. So the best you can do is come very close. Like that's how I see it. So I don't think we need too much to do that again. Really. So I'm not fussed.
Yeah, and before I go to Vincey, my thoughts. I spoke to Gary about this. My thoughts, and I'm saying this because I'm not sure whether you're aware of where my mindset is. My thoughts is that in previous years we were playing catch up with City. Last seasons where I actually thought that we are neck and neck with them. There was no margins to have, back to back, year on year, most goals ever scored in our franchise history, best defense, match the Invincibles for wins. We pretty much are matching City neck and neck. The difference is, and then we move on to other sports where you have a Tiger Woods, where you have a Michael Jordan, where you have, Roger Federer and all these guys. Is that there's fine margins. When you get to the top, there's then fine margins. When you're not there and you're looking at the champions and winning it every year, you're kind of so far behind that the gap to make up is substantial.
This is the problem, Apollo. Like, because the fine margins are widened by the fact that if we have Martinelli out, Trossard comes in, but then Trossard can't cover for Odegaard. So then now we've got an issue where with City, like my man comes out, Grealish comes out, Doku comes in. Doku goes out, they'll put Bernardo Silva there. Like they can just flip everything around because they've got so many options that we don't have. And for us to get to that level, we'd have to spend more billions, and we ain't got that. So we just have to chill. Like we're good. Let's hope we can beat them this year through fair competitiveness, because we're not going to be able to match them for their clout or whatever. So that's right. What I mean by we're going up against the immovable objects, So.
Yeah, and I agree. And we took 4 points off them last year, and I want us to do the same this year. And so for me, it's not a physical thing. Like I feel we match up with them neck and neck. Where it is just the fine lines, and that's where it is. So physically, great, no injuries. We was able, even though we drained out a few of our players. But I think it's the mental thing. That's the thing that Arteta now's got to work with the guys on. That mental thing, going into a West Ham and Fulham on Christmas Day when you were top of the table at Christmas, and then losing those two games, and then the Villa one was. I think that was worse because City had dropped points, Liverpool lost to Palace. And then it was us, and it was like, yeah, this is it, man. And then we go and lose 2-0 to Villa. So there's certain mental things which I think that's our key, thing that we have to build on this year. Vincey, how are you doing, man? What's going on with you, bro? What's your thoughts about Arsenal?
Good. I'm actually going into the season quite optimistic that for the first time, we have the opportunity to repeat our defensive solidity in a manner that, if we don't have injuries, is really going to help us in Europe as much as it is going to help us in the Premier League. I think I'm very comfortable with Calafiori as the signing. I think this is the player that I expected Zinchenko to be when we purchased him.
Wow.
For me, I've always said the deficiencies for me in Zinchenko is this type of player. And for us to get an Italian defender with this ability so young is probably unheard of.
Yeah, and we have tried. Vincey, by the way, if you didn't know it, guys, he's a big Italy international fan. And we have tried with Vlahovic, we have tried with Locatelli, and both of those guys said, Arsenal, nah, don't fancy that. And this is how far Arteta has taken his team, where Calafiori looks at it and says, I'm going to Arsenal. I don't care what any of you lot say. They tried the rope-a-dope and tried to get him to stay. They had 4 meetings with him. And he was like, every time he's like, no. no. Whereas remember with Sesko said, "Yeah, I want to join Arsenal, personal terms." Then had 2 meetings with his team, and then no, guys, sorry, I'm staying at RB Leipzig. So it just goes you to show how Arsenal have come when this guy just says, "I'm going to Arsenal," and that is the end of the end. No more meetings. Don't talk to my agent. We're going to London.
Yeah, and I think the flexibility that Arteta has now is we didn't get for last season. I wanted to see how Timber was going to impact the team, and we were robbed of that. So to have Timber available and to have Calafiori available this year, it's like, okay, right, you know what? If these guys can stay fit, we're going to have one hell of a defensive year this year. So it excites me in that regard. My biggest worry is the rotation with Odegaard and the system that's needed whenever fatigue hits him, because that's where you're going to see the biggest drop off.
I agree.
You know what it is? You know what it is, though, Vincey. It's not just Odegaard. We've said it time after time. It's the Saka thing as well. We don't want to be in a position where either of them two get broke for 6 months and miss a whole heap of the season. We can't allow that to happen. And it's a thing that Arteta has to get 100% right this season.
The Odegaard thing is probably the worst, and I agree with Vincey, because he is the engine. Like with Saka, you know it's Saka, and he's our star boy. He can pull a magic rabbit out of a hat. But the engine, the energy, the passion, and everything starts from Odegaard. And I remember when we was playing, who was it? I believe it was the Villa game. For the first 60 minutes in that Villa game, guys, we was murder. We were running. I don't think people realize how much we dominated possession in the first 60 minutes of that game. And then because we gave so much in that game, we just punched ourselves out. We were gassed. And I remember Smith Rowe coming on, and then we just lost all intensity. It was like, this guy is just not Martin Odegaard. And nobody is really. But it just goes to show, like what Danny was saying about De Bruyne goes, Foden steps in, and then they don't miss nothing.
But I do think, and last year proved it, as you said, Apollo, we took 4 points off City. I believe we could have taken 6. And this season, if we've got the structure, you know, if you have a fit party playing and Rice is able to get back to the levels that he had at the start of last season, because it was phenomenal at the start. He's had he's played for England, so he's had a long year, so it's going to take a while for that to come up. But if he can get back up to that level for that City game, I think, I believe 6 points we can take off them. And it's just a case of us managing the games in and around difficult times of the period. And it should be an exciting year.
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to quickly touch on 2 things. I know, like Danny's saying about City, they bring in this guy and they don't really have a drop off. But where we look at Odegaard and how important he's become to the team, you can't replace that. But what you have to do is, so say if Odegaard's not playing and we've got a Vieira there, you have to kind of change the way we play to suit the player that's coming in who's not going to give you what Odegaard does. Because even though Man City will have De Bruyne out, they won't play the same way with De Bruyne in the team, right? Because De Bruyne is that guy that can drop into his own half and spray a pass and put someone clean through. They don't really have anyone else that can play like De Bruyne. But what they do is change the situations and the way the team plays. That's why it doesn't look like so much of a drop-off, when in fact they do struggle without De Bruyne.
Big time.
So that's interesting you've mentioned that, because the analogy then tactically would be play with 2 number 10s, right? Essentially.
That's what I want. That's
yeah.
what I want.
Yeah. That's a tactic. And I'll throw a name in the hat for you guys, which you might not actually think about. But when I saw him play there 3 times last season, I was like, "Ooh, he's not bad when he goes further forward up the pitch." That's Jorginho. Jorginho was a creative player and playing through balls. I think
that was his original position. That's where he used to play for Napoli. Like, he used to play as an attacker mid. But I think this year is going to be Ethan's breakout season in that position. He's going to be the guy for the. Like, when you see him play, we haven't seen anyone in the number 10 role that is rapid, that can break the lines by pace Like we've always got to break the lines with a pass. Like that will present a totally different option in that area of the pitch. Someone who can
he likes
literally
to
run
travel,
through
doesn't
the lines. Yeah, we ain't had that for time. So I don't think we've ever had that. To be fair, most number 10s are slow, can pick a pass. Like that would be something new. So yeah, I think this could be a good year for him. So if we get injuries there, and also Gary, you're right, man. You just change the way you play, don't you? You don't
he? Yeah. But
play. City did
Arteta
not
doesn't
play
do that though,
Foden
Dan,
the
does
way
he?
they played De Bruyne. City don't play Foden the way they play De Bruyne. They play them totally different roles. Foden just
That's
out
it.
wide and stuff, you know. So
You've got to have that. You've got to have that mix and match. You've got to have the plan A, B, C, D, E. But Arteta sometimes is just so one-dimensional. This is how we're going to play. You know, there's we was having a debate the other day on the forum about Martinelli. You know, and we've all mentioned it. And sometimes he just looks like he doesn't fit in this team at certain times, but in other times he looks like a world beater. There's kind of no middle ground with Martinelli. He's either 10 out of 10 or he's like 2 out of 10. There's no in between with him.
he's struggling mentally at the moment. You can just see every time you watch him, you can see he's not. The reason he don't look part of the team is because his head is away. Like it's not in the team. You get me?
You know, I mean, Apollo and Vinci can bear fruit to like this. I've always said, why don't during the game, why are Saka and Martinelli never switching wings? A couple of times last season, we saw Martinelli come over to the right, didn't we? And
but he's horrible there. He's horrible on the right. He's horrible. He's awful on the right wing, man. That's right.
Over onto the right a couple of times last season, he created a goal or an assist or scored a goal.
Yeah, true.
Hey, I tell you who was phenomenal on the right when they replaced Saka last season, when Saka missed the game against Man City. Jesus, man. Jesus was really good in that game. Really good.
I think he just lacks a little touch of pace for me when he plays on the wing for the whole game. Like if he comes on, he can mess with your head because it's a different type of player. But I think when he plays the whole game, he lacks a bit of pace. When you ping it down, that's what I don't like about Trossard. I love Trossard, yeah, but you can never whack the ball in front of him and he can run onto it. He'll always run out of steam, you know.
I think
first, let me quickly, guys, shout out to D-Dubs. D-Dubs, you guys probably remember him. I ain't seen this brother for over a couple of years now. He says, Apollo and Panel, long time, brothers. We're stronger, but we still lack firepower up front. Remember, D-Dubs, last 2 years, broke the Arsenal scoring record, 89 goals and 91 goals. The goals are there, bro. Remember, we used to put, hey, listen, Steph Curry, NBA, we used to put teams to sleep. Yeah? Halftime, fans are leaving. Players want to give up. Substitutions made after 55 minutes. We were knocking teams out last season, so we still have that, bro.
I think a lot of this like clamour for a striker is all because you're looking at City and you've got Haaland that's scoring 40 to 50 goals a season.
Yeah.
When you take Haaland out of the City team, there ain't a lot else.
There isn't, you know. And now they've lost Alvarez.
And then they've lost Alvarez as well. So when you look at Arsenal to score 91 goals, and what did our top scorer get? Was it Saka with 20?
Yeah.
So that's 70 goals shared around the team, which is a pretty good return in my book.
I think just going back to the Martinelli frustration, I know a lot of fans have. I think you'll see a different Martinelli when you have somebody very mobile with pace alongside him, leading the line. I think that when Jesus is playing, the interaction of ball movement is quicker. With Havertz, it's a little bit slower, and that's where Martinelli needs to improve his game at the slower pace of the intricate passing and the movement. When he has somebody in open space and movement, you will see a completely different player.
See, I just think it's his decision making. We saw on Sunday, you know, in the first, was it 8 minutes or something like that? He whipped in 3 crosses with his left foot. And it's the thing that we don't normally see him do. He always wants to check back onto his right, and then he gets crowded out, or he's not coming in and taking a shot into the far corner. And then there was a period in the game where he got played through and it was on his left foot. And you could almost see in his mind, he was like, oh, what should I do? And by the time he tried to hit it, he allowed the defender to get back. And it was that split second
he tried to pass it. I've seen that moment, but that tells you 100% that it's his mind, his confidence ain't there, because a confident player bangs that first time without a doubt, you know,
Yeah,
and an
100%.
unconfident player takes a touch, they hesitate, you know. So
Yeah, but this goes also back to the thing, Dan, where I'm saying about if occasionally you switch Saka and Martinelli and put them on their strong foot, Saka's going through and he's banging that straight away. And on the other side, Martinelli's never going to hesitate to bang it. But if you keep them on the opposite sides of the feet that they use, unless they're proficient in using both feet like a Trossard would be, that you're taking something away from the team. When it's even if they just switch for 15 minutes and then switch back. So I'm not saying they've got to switch for the whole game, but just a little 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, then switch them back.
Mate, that's an old school tactic. It's an old school tactic, innit? Switch the wingers and confuse the fullbacks. Like, it's an old school. That bring it back.
I would say this though, Gary. Look out in the early part of the season to see whether or not that is coaching with Martinelli now that he's been told to get those left-footed crosses in early. Because if you're saying you haven't seen that,
Sunday.
Yeah, that's probably coaching that they've tried to get into to work on.
Right, so guys, let's have a look.
As a coach, you need many strings to your bow.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's have a look at our sheet now. Let's have a look at our sheet where we are. So, guys, this is our sheet for the first 10 games of the season. And we got a couple of, I think we're missing a few. We're missing Ebony. Emerson's going to send his in a minute. And then we'll do final league position as well. But if you look at me, I've gone for a Wolves win. I've gone for Aston Villa away draw. And I was scratching with that one. I was fighting myself with that one. But I thought there's still going to be a good team because Emery surprised me in the way how he handled Arsenal's tactics last season. I think he's going to do exactly the same thing. So Arteta really has to be sharp in that game. So, yeah, I think that's probably going to be tougher than what people think it is. Brighton home, I've gone for win. Tottenham away. Sorry, guys. I just think that we're a level above them. I think we're going to destroy them. I really do. Guys, I think we're going to go there and destroy them. And I think it's going to be them, man. They're still bigging up their chest because they had such a really good start to the season last year. And then they blame everything on injuries. They blame everything on this. They blame everything. They find all the excuses, don't they? But there's no excuse when you're playing us 4 games at your home ground. So if you want to come and bring your thing, we're ready for you there. So I'm going for Arsenal win. I'm actually going for a Man City. Hold on. Let me just double check, guys. Let me just quickly double check because I think that game might be a home game, not away. Hold on. I think I might have got that wrong. I think it's...
If that's home, I'm changing my score.
Yeah, I'm just going to check. I'm just going to check now. Normally, we've got Gary's son in the background with all the knowledge. It is away. It's away. Yeah.
Oh, good,
it's,
good.
It's at the Etihad. Gary's son would normally in the background going, "It's away, Dad," because he's got all of it up in his brain.
Yeah, he knows
to be young again.
Every single fixture, every single kickoff time, every single player ever in the game.
Hey, listen, when I was his age, I used to have, we talked about the Panini books. Remember, Gary, when we was at Wood Stadium? I used to collect them for all the World Cups, and I knew every single player for every team. I was so sad. Like I look
but
at
you know what, though, Apollo? It's not even that now, mate. You know what it is? Because he plays FIFA, right?
Oh.
He knows every player in every team, right? Across the whole world. Wow. Don't ask me how he remembers because I haven't got a clue. But you can say to him, "Who's it?" He goes, "Oh, that's so and so." I go, "How the hell? It's not even possible."
Wow,
that's how he knows.
I'm just enlarging the screen because some of you lot at home might not be able to see that. Let me go once more. Yeah, that should be okay. So yeah, it's so. Where was I? So I was talking about the City. So City away at the Etihad. Still a hoodoo last season. If Trossard squares that ball for Martinelli on the break, Arsenal win that game 1-0. That's the fine lines. And so, guys, we're just going to be better. I don't think people realize my forte and my first thought process this year is Manchester City, every year their team keeps eroding. And they buy some of these players and some of them stick, some of them don't. But I think this year, half of their team is over 30. So they're getting older. Last season, we saw the injuries they had started to really disrupt the flow of that team. And Arsenal, still younger, still more dominant, still fresher. And the style is different, isn't it? Arteta's style is a little bit more dominant than Pep's style. And I just think as Arsenal can improve and get better and better, it's hard for City to keep coming back to the well. You've won it 4 times in a row. What's the effort there to go in and win it again? You know, every year it's a little bit of a less and less of a fight because they've already done it, guys. So I think Arsenal's going to go there and win. Leicester City home win, Southampton away win, Bournemouth away win, and then Liverpool at home. Guys, that's going to be a tough one, man. That's going to be a tough one. We probably might get over that game, but I'm going for a draw for that. And then Newcastle away, which I know some of you have gone for a draw on. I think we're going to, that VAR decision last year, that was awful. I think we're going to go in there and then rinse them. I really do. So that's where I am. Neomis has put up on there as well. So Neomis actually matches me with 26 out of a possible 30. He's gone for a win Wolves, draw Villa, same as me. Brighton and Tottenham win. He's gone for a Man City draw, which is consistent with what most of you guys have got. And then he wins out against Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle. He's winning out there. Danny, talk us through your one, bro.
Yeah, okay. Wolves, I just like this is so impossible to predict these anyway, innit? Because it's just you don't know what's going to happen, who's going to get injured, who they're going to buy, whatever, who we're going to buy. So I just think right now Wolves win. Villa, I think there's going to be something in that game for us, man, because we're going to be disappointed with how we performed against them for the last 2 years, not even just last year, because the year before we struggled with them a bit. So I think we're going to want to prove a point there. So I think we'll beat them away. Brighton win. Tottenham away. What did I say? Win, yeah. Yeah, I think. Did I say a win there? Yeah. I don't know. I just think we're stronger than them. I think they're actually worse than last year as well. They haven't had a huge amount of signings. I'm not convinced by Dominic Solanke as well as like this world-beating striker. I think he's a decent English striker, but I don't think he's like a world level striker. So yeah, Tottenham will win. City, I think we will draw. I think we'll draw, and I think that could be a loss. It could also be a win. I don't know. That's a mad game. I don't know anything about. It's too techy. Like, because we could go there, play perfect, and just ship a dodgy goal, or Rodri might do some mad tackle that he should get sent off for, and he doesn't get sent off, and he pops up in the 91st minute and scores the winner, like he did. You remember them ones there? So you never know.
Campbell that's not given.
Yeah, exactly, and we battered them in that game as well. So that can happen against City. So yeah, a draw. I don't think we'll try our hardest not to lose that. Leicester, I think that'll be easy win. I think that's where we're going to start pumping teams. Southampton, Bournemouth, all easy wins. Liverpool, always a techie game for us, even at home. Always difficult. They beat us in pre-season. Doesn't mean anything, but it's always a difficult game. And
I think the only thing there on the Liverpool one, Dan, is you saw how Postecoglou's stubbornness was a benefit and a curse to Tottenham with that high line. So we really don't know about Liverpool's style at the moment. I know we played them in pre-season, and they look good, man. They look really good. But
I don't think Liverpool's style has changed that much.
Well, it should.
I don't think so either. It's going to be a difficult game. Everyone knows that it's going to be a tough game for us, isn't it? Like we don't forget.
From watching them in pre-season yesterday against Sevilla and against us, they still just want to get that ball forward as quick as possible with a long ball to release Diaz or Salah, and that's how they're still going to continue to play. Obviously, Arnie Slot's going to put in his own little bits and pieces, but the main thing is that they love to knock this ball long. Yeah, most teams now hold that high line. I think Liverpool. I don't think the drop off is going to be as everyone expected with Liverpool.
Right. I finish off, Danny. I'm just inputting Emerson's scores in here. He's gone for a draw with Villa as well.
I agree with Gary there. I don't think Liverpool are going to drop off massively this year. I don't. Honestly, I don't think they'll be there at the end of the season. Just like I think they'll be pretty similar to last year. They'll be good, but and they're a tough game for us. So I'll go for a draw there. And then Newcastle, I think we'll beat them. I don't think they're really struggling to get around this PSR and all that stuff in it. So
Yeah,
they're having to
yeah.
sell Trippier apparently and stuff. So I don't know, man. Who have Liverpool signed? Is that going to change my mind? Because I don't really know who they've brought in.
Well, they was after Zubimendi, but he today, boy, oh
And a
boy,
new
oh
deal.
boy,
I
he
bet
said,
you.
yeah, and it's not. He turned down
no.
Atletico and a couple PSG turned down a couple of other teams. And today he's done exactly the same thing with Liverpool. He just turned around and said, "You know what? I'm staying where I am." And
Dude, he tried to go to didn't he try to go to Real Madrid and didn't like it there and ended up going straight back to Sociedad anyway. So
yeah, he's a
he's
funny
addicted
guy.
to that place. Yeah.
And there was, and
he's a
Arteta
funny
was
guy.
getting panned for not signing him because someone thought he was going to Liverpool. I ain't going to mention no names, but someone thought he was going to Liverpool, and Arteta was getting panned. How can we let this happen? Well, obviously it didn't happen. So
Why do people do that anyway? There's no player like that is going to be like the difference between you winning the league or not winning the league, bruv. It's going to be a piece to a puzzle, isn't it? Like
I think
just
sometimes
need
people
pieces.
just like to use it as a stick to beat the manager with. You know, it must be Arteta's fault that we haven't signed this player. It must be Arteta's fault that all these youngsters are leaving.
Bro, Zubimendi is not Mbappe or flipping Haaland or Vinicius or someone. It's Zubimendi, dude. Like a 35-40 million pound player. Chill, bro. Like, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Newcastle win. I don't think they're going to overcome the issues that hurt them last year. Although they ain't got Europe, so they might be a bit more fresh because they had a bag of injuries last year, didn't they? That should help them.
Yeah, they did. So Danny, funny enough, he's 26 out of a possible 30, which is the same as me and Neomis. And so that's crazy. I mean, that's kind of where we are. If I'm looking at it, Bertram always seems to be the highest point scorer every year, doesn't he? Him and Tom.
Yeah.
That's mad because Bertram's like the most pessimistic guy when talking about Arsenal, but he's the most positive guy when it comes to scoring us.
I know. It's because he don't like losing, man. He does not like losing. So let me just go through some comments here before we go to Gary. D says Arteta has to win it this year. Really should be rewarded. The last 2 titles to Man City's 115 charges. The league is corrupt. That's the truth. Michael, good to see you, bro. Hope everything is well. He says he agrees with Tony. 28 points on the draw of Liverpool. That's how I originally drew mine up. And I was like, that can't be the same as Tony, man. And then so I had to go back to the well. I threw in the Villa away. And then I realized, you know what? I'm probably closer to Danny now. So I'm going to have to change it up a little bit. 18 says, I wish Danny was on more. Hey, Danny's a family man, you know, and got beer, wife, everything. Yeah, so he'll try, man. He'll try. You know how it is. Because he hasn't got his other channel anymore, it might give him a little bit of free time. Gary, you've got the conch. Let's hear your breakdowns, bro, and talk us through it.
All right. So Wolves, I'm going for a win. I think we'll be way too strong for Wolves, and we were going to get the season off to a flyer against them. I can't see them. You know, they've lost one of their main guys in Pedro Neto. So I can't see them posing any danger to us. But in saying that, Gary O'Neill is a good young manager there, and his teams always do well against us. But I still can't see anything else but an Arsenal win. Moving on to Villa, I know they beat us twice last year, but I'm definitely sure in one of the games we should have been out of sight before they even scored. Yeah. You know, Havertz missed a couple of sitters. So although they beat us, we had chances in at least one game that I can remember where we should have been out of sight. So and they've lost Douglas Luiz. They've signed 3 or 4 new players. So they're going to take some time to bed in. So I'm going to go for an away win. I think we're too strong. Our team hasn't been disrupted by many new players. Obviously, Calafiore and Marino are the only 2 that have come in. they won't feature in the first few games. So I'm going to go home away win. Brighton, again, I think we'll be too strong for Brighton. So that's another home win for me. Tottenham away.
Everybody's put win here.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It's a North London derby, right? So this fixture doesn't matter if one team's in the Premier League and one team's in the Conference. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
I personally think I agree with you guys that we have too much for Tottenham. I know Solanke was your guy, Apollo, but I'm with Danny. I don't think he's the elite striker that.
He's a good player. He's just not like that level, you know.
Yeah, I have this theory, right, that if you're of an elite level, you're going to get snapped up by one of the big clubs, the clubs that are constantly competing for Champions League and league titles. And if you're not in that bracket, they ain't looking at you.
Yeah,
Tottenham are.
That's how I see it. So, obviously, I just think we're too strong for Spurs. I really do. But in the North London derby, I think we're going to beat them, but I'm going to go for a draw.
Yeah, where they got big-headed was when they came to the Emirates last season, and was it Jorginho that gave away the goal on the mistake when he came on? No, that was I think was that the Fulham game. No, it might have been Saka that gave the goal away.
No, it was Saka got the penalty, didn't he?
Yeah, so it was Jorginho that made the mistake when he came on. Yeah, that's right. It was Jorginho came on as you would say, Gary. He came on cold. And then missed pass, gave the ball away in the midfield. They went down to score. But it was Jesus had the ball 10 yards out and missed the target. And that was just like, should have buried that game.
I think we've got too much for them, but I just don't like the fact that it's a North London derby, and anything can happen. So I'm going to put it down as a draw, but I think it's going to be a win.
Okay. So you're the only one who's gone draw there.
Yeah, because I'm the only realistic one amongst you guys.
I
just see every angle of it, you know. I think it's going to be a win.
If we're going to bring up realistic, then we got to talk about Lewis's score. Actually, no, not Lewis. Nabil. Nabil's the one who's got the lowest score at the moment.
Right. So City away now. The crucial thing with City away is that 4 of their massive players haven't even returned to training yet. Rodri, Stones, Walker and Foden still have not returned from their break from the Euros. They're due back, obviously, well, probably either today or at some point this week. So all them 4 are going to be chasing their fitness into the opening games of the season, because there's no way that Pep is going to start with the team that he started with in the Community Shield or whatever you want to call it. That's never going to happen.
I agree with Gary. I have to say one thing though, man.
Also got the court case starting in September.
It's not November,
for
I believe.
These 150.
Yeah, I think.
No, sorry, September. It starts in September.
Oh,
no, September. I've read it today. It starts in September. So they've got the court case starting in September. They've got 4 big players plus De Bruyne, who only came back last week. So he's 3 weeks training, to even get back to anything like full fitness. So this is all about the round of the time that we're going to play them. Aging squad. I think we're gonna go there and we're gonna win. I think we're gonna go there and we're gonna win.
Yeah,
it's the 22nd of September.
And I said to you before, they can't beat us. We played them 3 times last season, and they were nowhere near. In fact, they got 1 goal against us, and that was in preseason in the Charity Shield.
They barely had a shot. They barely had a shot against us, too.
Yeah.
They can't beat us. Wasn't it Haaland in the 2 games 0.01 XG or something like that?
Yeah,
something
that's
ridiculous.
Right. Yep.
So I think we can go there and we can turn them over. I really do. I think they've got too much going on. Pep's been very lackadaisical with having these players come back, from their summer break. And I think
Gary,
it's
on
just,
that, I just read that Rodri's coming back on Wednesday, and Foden, Stones, and Walker are all back today. So I don't
yeah.
understand why they got more time off than our guys, because Raya's been back for time, you know.
But that's why I just think
Yeah.
it's so lackadaisical on Pep's part. Do you think that you're honestly that good that you can just allow players to have extra time off and come back and allow 3 weeks for them to get match fit? In that time they can pick up injuries, the court case, everything. Lost Alvarez, they haven't replaced him. I think they're going to have to go into the market and spend, because if anything happens, Haaland's pretty injury prone, isn't he? He picks up injuries every season. They've got no one to replace him now. So we'll see what happens. But I think we can go there and we can get a result. Purely in fact, I think they've got too much going on and a few players will be out of sorts.
So you're joining me and Tony going for an Arsenal win. That's the spirit. Get in there, son. Get in there.
Leicester, I think, obviously come back up. I think we're going to be too strong for Leicester. Obviously got the Jamie Vardy, who loves to score a goal against Arsenal, but I just, we're a different animal now. We're a different breed. Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiore, Ben White, strong as hell. So yes, that's a home win. Southampton, I think they're gonna end up getting relegated and going straight back down. So that's another resounding away win. Bournemouth is the same. Liverpool at home, I'm going to say it's going to be a draw, because I don't think Liverpool, the drop-off is going to be that great like everyone's expecting. I think Arne Slot has already shown in pre-season that the way Liverpool are going to play is very much the same, with the long balls for Salah and Diaz. And Newcastle away. I agree with Danny, and Newcastle are struggling and they haven't really signed anyone. But that's a hard place to go. Newcastle, a hard place to go. And I'm going to have that down as a draw.
Ooh.
We may sneak a win, but I'm just something about when you go up to St James's Park, it's a tough place to go. And we don't really give away anything. And we know how Newcastle play against us, right?
We do. But remember, what was one of Arteta's best results, not last season, but the season before? Right near the end of the season, we went down there and we played them off the park and won 2-0. And they weren't even in the game. Eddie Howe said in his after-game interview, he said, no team has ever played us like that since I've been manager here at home. And he said, we couldn't do nothing. We couldn't do a damn thing against them. I
just think they're going to sit back. They're going to sit back. They're going to defend like they do, boring as hell. And I just, it's going to be one of these games where it's going to take something special, which we're more than capable of. Don't get me wrong, we're more than capable of doing something special. But I just think it's going to be a draw.
So Gary's gone with a possible 24 points out of 30. And when we finish with Vincey, we'll then discuss whether this is actually going to be enough to build up a lead. Because we do know, guys, we are better when we've built up a lead than when we're leading from the front. I don't like it when we're chasing City, because every week is just like you're praying and you're hoping, you're clutching your fingers for them to drop points. And I hate being in that position. I hate it. I would rather us being in front and then putting the pressure on them to win every week. I feel in such a better place and position when we're in that spot. I don't like being behind and chasing. Hate it. Can't stand it. And then obviously when we're in front, for some reason we play more free. We just play. We express ourselves. We play with no fear. And so I just love this team. I just love it. Vincey, I think before I go to Vincey, let me just go through. We talked about Bertram, didn't we? Bertram's 28. He's only dropping points against Man City. Outside of that, he's winning out. That's it. Tony, probably the same thing, but not with Man City, with Liverpool at home. So, again, the realization that, look, Man City are scared of us. Someone made a comment, I think it was D. D said that, we got to fear City, and I don't fear. I think City fear us. Pep Guardiola in the Charity Shield when they won, he was making some dumb foolery comments about Arsenal. And I was just like, why is this guy talking about like that? So he's obviously scared. He's obviously rattled. After last season, he knows he's in for a proper match. And look, I don't think he'll sign an extension. I think when the charges come down, he'll be gone. He will be. I just think he won't stick around. But we'll have to wait and see if that happens. But yeah, with Tony, he's only dropped the Liverpool game. Lewis is an interesting one. He's dropped points against City, Liverpool, and Newcastle. And so he's come up also with 20. Yeah, he's come up also with 20 points. The only difference with him was that you dropped points at Tottenham and he dropped points at City. I believe that's the only difference, but it's still just 24 points. So, Vincey, talk us through yours.
It's going to be a tough one. I think we're going to definitely win the opening game against Wolves. This one's a coin flip. It's one where, for me, can Arteta manage the high press, the high line that Villa will play? We've lost 2 games at it, and I think it's going to be one, if we don't win this, it's going to cause a lot of nervousness within the fan base and also within the team. So I think we need to get 3 points, and I'm going to go for 3 points in this one.
Oh, yes.
Brighton, I think we've got too much for Brighton. Last year, we really overpowered them. And I think, again, we'll get a good victory there. Now, this one, Tottenham, is an emotional game. But again, I am buoyed by our defensive improvements with Calafiori and Timber. And it's just a matter of us taking our chances. And I think if we take our chances, we'll definitely beat Tottenham. So 3 points for Tottenham. Now, I have a belief in football. This is how I play the game. If you want to be champions, you must beat the champions at home.
Agreed.
Simple, you must beat them. And Man City always starts slow. But again, we've shown in that last year that we were able to match them structurally. And Haaland has not had the best of Saliba or Gabriel. So we just need to take our chances. And I believe we're going to get 3 points. Excellent. 3 points against City. Leicester City, 3 points. Southampton, 3 points. Bournemouth, this is a tricky one because we're away and sometimes we go down there and we play the fool. But still 3 points.
Yeah, that might be Eddie and Nketiah's. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Eddie the Revenge.
Now you think, well, you know what? We got 3 points at home last year against Liverpool, and this is a dodgy one. But again, we need to get a result. If we can't get a result at home against Liverpool, it's not going to bode well for our chances. So again, 3 points.
Wow.
3 points. Now,
you might as well go 3 points, Vince. You can't just let yourself down there.
No, Newcastle away is
this is the problem for me because I can't see us. We come into a period where we tend to have our struggles. Is this around October time?
Yes, it is.
Right. Now, this is where I think it's going to start to get a little bit dicey. I want to go for a draw here. It's no disrespect to get a draw at Newcastle. They are tough at home. But I think for us to win the league...
Oh, that's November the 2nd. November the 2nd.
Yeah. So I think we need to get points, definitely, at Man City and at home to Liverpool. And that would give us the confidence to say, do you know what? We're in it. We're in it for the league. So, yeah. I'm there on 28 again with the other boys, but slightly different result.
Excellent, guys. Excellent. So let's see what these guys are saying. Cam says Wolves won't get a single shot on target. Rice somehow, despite providing 5 assists. Saliba praised despite the defense having almost nothing to do. D says, I don't see a worry about our defense and midfield. It's the attack with Jesus and Havertz too wasteful. Martinelli lacks the high IQ for the long balls. Yeah, and that's why it goes by committee though, isn't it? It goes by committee, Dubs. Either way, we can't argue with the results, can we? You know, breaking franchise records. We've had some insane goal scorers at the club, but we're doing it with various amount of players, which I think only the Invincibles did, right? And then I talk to you guys about my favorite attacking force, which was 2016-17. Aaron Ramsey, 10 goals. Ozil, 12. Giroud 16, Walcott 19, and Sanchez 31. That was an incredible. I mean, I was absolutely the attacking threat from Arsenal then was silly. We were just playing with teams when we were on the break. Obviously, Sanchez was just a magician, wasn't he? But the fact that Walcott chipped in with 19 goals, guys. Come on, man. 19 goals for your Walcott. That was his last season with Arsenal. And a lot of people forget. They took us to the semi-final of the Europa Cup, and Walcott and Giroud left that January. That's why Arsenal, they got Lacazette, didn't they? They changed all the team and striking force, and we couldn't go, and then we got knocked out by Atletico Madrid. But honestly, we were just dancing with teams at that point. It was so great to watch. It's a shame they didn't have a spine until Arteta came in, but then there you go. It says, even if we concede, I'm still confident in defense. Zinchenko is starting. No, Zinchenko is not a starter. That's it, guys. Zinchenko won't start. Jesus ain't a starter. And Martinelli, he's on the bench as well. That's just how it is right now in the team. And unless those guys come in and provide astonishing performances to get back into the team, those guys that I just mentioned, they're just bench fodder. That's all they are, because they proved to us last season that they weren't good enough for the title run and then was benched. And the guys who replaced them, Havertz, Martinelli,
Trossard.
and the left back was, and Trossard and Martinelli, really, what was it? 2 goals in 18. Then he ended up finishing the season with 6 goals. Jesus finished on 6 goals as well. He had 4 goals in 20 starts at one point, and it just was not working. And that's why I said throughout last season, this Jesus experiment striker is over. It's over. Play him on the wing, where he was successful with Man City, 94 goals, 230 games. He's got this dribbling ability to get past a man. Put him on the wing, let him create. And then D says, yes, Vincey, got to go to City and win. Yeah, we have to. Liverpool always played them with no handbrake and beat them. No reason why Arteta can't set his team out to beat them. I agree. And I think he set the team up great last year, but it's just that Trossard missed the pass, man. Fine lines. And then, he won't start, bro. Yeah, Zinchenko, not a chance. He's starting.
I hope not. I really do hope that don't start.
The thing is, you've got so much choice. You've got so much choice at left back now. And
I think you lot are bit, you know what it is, yeah? Zinchenko will start games this year. He just will play when it's tactically appropriate. When we know we're going to have a lot of the ball, when we know we're going to have to cut teams open. Because what people don't crap about Zinny, is he's a bit like an Odegaard on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
He will do that sort of keep ball weirdness. That sort, I don't know. They got some weird way of being on the ball, and then he's good at finding the pass.
You play him up in the 8. That's no drama. Just keep him away from the left back spot.
No, but he'll be there. But he'll be there against teams where you can afford him to be there. That's what I think you see. And then I think teams at Liverpool will be playing like. Remember that time we played Tomiyasu up against Salah, and Salah had nothing. He got no joy all game, and that's what Calafiori is. I think we're going to sell Tommy. By the way, I see bare rumors going on that we're going to sell Tommy.
So guys, final league position. You guys all know me. My final league position is I believe Arsenal's going to be champions. I said it last season. I believe they're going to win the league. My transfer rating this season, in this summer, is 7. Because I truly believe that we have a starting first 11. And the issue is now trying to improve the quality on the bench and having these players. And look, Calafiori can start at left back. Got no problem with that. He can start at left back. Personally, I'd like to see Timber start there, but Calafiori can start there, no problem. So at the moment, I'm giving him a 7 because I do believe right now we're looking at evaluating, building up the talent level on that squad. But this is just going to be the mark for now, because Edu did make that statement a couple of days ago. He said, watch this space. We ain't finished yet. And the last time they did that, you know what happened? Declan Rice walked through the front door. So I'm going to hold him to that. So just watch this space for now. I'm happy with 7. I'm happy with 7 because I know the details with Mikel Moreno has been sorted, and that's going to be tied up this week. So I'm happy with that. Lead and goal scorer. I'm going with King Kai. Kai's going to get over 20 goals this season, guys. He is. You know it. And if you don't know it, I'm going to rub it in your face at the end of the season, and I will not stop talking about it. Neomis, I haven't asked. Gary, where are we going to finish this season? What's your transfer window rating so far, and who's going to be the leading goal scorer?
Right, we are going to finish numero uno. We are going to win the damn thing. We're not going to sign the team. We're going to win the team. Right, that's what I'm saying. We're going to win this league. It's got to be ours this year. It has to be our year. We've strengthened midfield, left side 8, and left back spot, which was problem areas. So I'm going to say we're going to win the league. Transfer window rating. Had we not sold Emil Smith Rowe, I would have given it an 8.
He's a dog with a bone.
So
He's
I am going to say
go.
I'm deducting 1.5 points for the sale of Emil Smith Rowe, which I deem not necessary, when we're keeping the guy on the other side, Mr. Fabio Vieira, right? That he would have been the first guy out the door if I was in charge, right? So yeah. I'm going to give them a 7 as well. It would have been an 8.
By the way, I put Smith Rowe in my fantasy football team. I just did that today.
Yeah, he's going to do well for Fulham. He's going to do well.
Yeah.
You know he's going to have a blinding game against us and score a goal. It's already written in the stars. So I'm happy with winning so far. And if Edu's cooking something, then we're excited to see what it is. And I hope it comes out the blue. It's someone we never even have mentioned, or hasn't been mentioned, and it's been top secret. Leading scorer. I'm going to have to go with Mr. Kai Havertz. If he plays up front and gets a good run of games, I think he's going to score between 15 and 20 goals.
Yeah. Well, he scored 14 in all comps last season and 13 in the league. And he only started 12 games as a striker. In the last 8 games, 6 goals, 4 assists. That's insane. That's a goal or assist every 66 minutes.
Yeah, I think if he starts as the number 1 striker, I think these numbers, not just in goals and assists, but all round, duels, tackles, this, that, the other. I think he's going to have an exceptional season.
Yeah. And
I don't think it was a case of Arteta not wanting. Sorry, Paul. I don't think it was a case of Arteta not wanting Smith Rowe. I think he was sold just to balance the books.
I think it's 2 reasons.
Injury prone, man.
Yeah, I think it's the injury prone. It's like sometimes it's not about talent, guys. Sometimes it's about durability, availability. We know that what's been happening in that number 6 role, which is the lead cog in the machine. We know Xhaka's frailties there when he was at number 6, and then when he moved to the 8. He was a much better play because we moved him out of that danger zone. Thomas Partey, no durability, but in my opinion, he's the best number 6 in the league. But it's no good to you if he's on the bench in the medical room. So what did we do? We went and bought Mr. Bulletproof, Declan Rice, job done, problem solved. And I think when you look at things like Smith Rowe, we got countless times where we saw players Abu Dhabi, Jeff Renee Analaid coming out of the academy was going to rip up the first team, and that just didn't work. And there's just no good to anybody, no good to the team, no market value. So I think what he's done is he's analysed it and looked at it and thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to get what I want, because the flip side of that is I can get Mikel Moreno, which is the best defensive number 8 in football in Europe, and the numbers back it up. He's a stud. If you see the way, if the things he does, the dirty stuff he does for Spain, his aerial duels and duels in general. Me and Gary went over it last week, and honestly, Gary, the feedback I got from the video we did was people just came out of that video saying, "I had no idea," and we need him.
Yeah, he especially to get him for 17 million with his wealth of experience. That is great business.
Yeah, Danny, you got the card. Choose your final position. So go on, Gary.
Just to quickly touch on this injury-prone debate, where do you set the benchmark for this injury-prone? You know, Smith Rowe had a season and a half out injured.
Nah, it starts for me. It starts from before he even went on loan to Hoffenheim, right? When he was in the academy, he was injured for a whole season. Then he goes on loan to Hoffenheim, injured while he goes on loan, and then he doesn't play at all for them, hardly at all. I think he went RB Leipzig, wasn't it? And then Reese went to Hoffenheim, wasn't it? It was that way around. Anyway, He was injured then he came back, started looking on fire, then he goes Huddersfield, gets injured at the end of the season, comes back on fire, injured for the whole season. This guy we've seen it so many times, Gary. He's that archetypal, phenomenal talent, always injured. Jack Wilshere,
where do you set the line for injury-prone players? Thomas Partey, he gets a bye because he is Thomas Partey.
He don't get a play. He don't get a play either. That's why Apollo just said we had to sign Rice. Like it was like that's the reason we had to sign Rice.
So if Partey's always injury-prone, why didn't we cash in on him this summer?
Because can't cash in on him. How much is it? Look, we're struggling to get 25 for Eddie Nketiah. We're not going to cash in on Thomas Partey. They probably weighed it up like, what's it worth? 10 games of Thomas Partey or 10 mil?
Anyway. You know, obviously Martinelli's picked up injuries, you know, every last couple of seasons. Where do we say, oh, well, this guy's always injury prone?
Yeah, but he that's what I mean. If we want to go, dude, everyone's subject to the same thing. It's football. It's ruthless. Yeah. Martinelli, if we had another poor season, he will be probably gone. Like, no matter how much we will love him and how much like he loves Arsenal, he'll be gone if he has another poor season this year without injuries and he just shits like he was last year. He'll be gone. Like, so you can just everyone's subject to that, man. Certain players get more favoritism than others, but you know.
I think we've got to factor in when we're talking about injury prone, the tactics that we're playing, the intensity that we play in the football, and the level where these players have to jump in how they have to improve their game. Because that season that we had with ESR, when he came in and he did the business, we looked like, you know what, phenomenal player. Finally, he's going to be the player that we all think he can be. And then the next season, injury and struggled. So that's showing you that his body was not ready to maintain that level of football that's required. Now, we look and you see Martinelli. He's still a young player, but then he's playing in the position that, you know, he gets kicked a lot, then gets injuries, and then it's now this season. Can he get back to that level where we saw where he was the top goal scorer a few seasons? The style of football that we play in and these youngsters are playing is huge. It has a huge impact on their body. And I think those things we've got to factor in the speed of their growth that goes towards their injury record. Look at Partey. The guy was never injured when he was down at Atletico Madrid, and he's come playing in the Arsenal team, and he's had to overwork. You stop and you think, since we've had him, he was the sole guy alongside Xhaka, and he had to do so much work. But every season, the guys had knocks, and serious knocks. He's gone away regarding them and played. So I think we play a style of football that is taking a lot out of players that also contributes to their injuries.
And then
Yep.
genetics. Some people are just more genetically predisposed to
Yeah.
injuries, man. So
So before we go to Dan, let's just cover D. D says Havertz will get goals though, but the Jesus experiment, yeah, I agree. Atrocious up top. Remember, he said goal scoring ain't his strengths. He sure was right about that. Arteta's a funny guy. Cam says California reminds me a bit of Nesta. Such an elegant defender, never seems to panic. It says also, this is where I think Arteta has to simplify Martinelli's game in that he, in certain situations, one of you just mentioned that actually about the crossing and everything.
Yeah.
He does one thing most of the time. He can freestyle when allowed. It's worth a try. Then he goes on to say he's got the pace we need in those one-on-one situations. It was space behind. His problem for me is his quick decision making. When you go outside or cut in, he seems to be still processing too much. Well, that's not exactly his problem. His problem is he needs to lift his head up instead of looking at the ground when he's running so that he can actually see. If you lift your head up and you can see what's going on, then you can deliver a pass. And so it looked like he was improving on that on the back end of last season as well. He did he played a few balls, and I was like, where did that come from? So, you know,
That's
I
the
remember
thing,
us
though.
making...
That's the frustrating thing, though, Apollo, isn't it? It's like you see him 1 minute and you think, wow, what a talent. The guy's got it all. And you see him next minute, you think, who's this kid? Who's this guy? There's no in between, right? He's either dog crap or he's well beater. There's no in between with the guy. And that's the frustrating thing.
It could be age though, man. Like a lot of players don't develop decision making until they're like 25, 26, 27 years old, and like that can come later on in the player's game. Like we think players have to be developed at 23 years old now because Mbappe and Ronaldo or whoever, like all these young players and that. But really, some players just develop that later. So
yeah, and you know what? I attested that because Saka is a different player than he was 4 years ago when he played under Unai Emery at left back. He's a completely different. Saka's IQ is ridiculous as a footballer. It is phenomenal, and he doesn't get a lot of respect for that because the fans look at him one-dimensional. If you look at his all-round game, I know some of you do go to the Emirates Stadium to watch games. His football IQ is he just sees things, positioning. It's just got so much to his game. He's an amazing player, Saka. Dan, you got the conch, bro.
I can't say for league position anything other than first. Although really, it is like a toss up. We could completely fall off this year. I don't know, but let me not say that.
Well, you know what? We were lucky with injuries though last year, weren't we?
Yeah, but we've expanded our squad, and the areas where we were thin are the areas we've kind of addressed, you know. So, yeah, man. And transfer window, I don't know. A lot of people are marking us down because of a striker, but we're not that system. We're the Liverpool, Firmino, Salah, Mane system. We're not the Haaland and everyone else system, you know, like our players aren't subservient to the striker, they're subservient to the system. So everyone should be able to function in there. So,
and Danny, look what happened when Liverpool tried to copy Man City and bought Darwin Núñez. Where did he end up at the end of the season? On the bench?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people predicting him to be top scorer this year because he was getting better last year, wasn't he? So, anyway, I'm going to give it a 6. Because we haven't really done much, but I don't think that's bad. Some people look at that as bad. I think that's just standard, isn't it? Like we ain't really done much, but we haven't needed to. So I'm not gonna go too mad. Top scorer is gonna be, I think, Saka. Like I said, I think we're that Liverpool team where Salah was the main man. I think Saka is our main man. When he's always in and around our top scorer anyway, and it's always between like Odegaard, Saka, and someone else. Like so, I think either or any of our 4 starting frontline players, it could be Odegaard. Odegaard could easily be our top scorer. And I tell you something, yeah, of all the players we've got, he looks the sharpest and most hungry out of everyone. If you look at how he turned up for training, dude, he was on it. So and he's in superb shape. I've never seen a player like have that sort of he's reminded me a bit of Ronaldo. You know, like how all of a sudden Ronaldo just started taking things seriously and he looked like a machine all of a sudden. That's Odegaard for me. So yeah, man, it could be him, but I go Saka.
Excellent. Vincey, what about you?
Well, with a start like that, you got to finish first. If you drop off from that, then there's going to be mutiny. So yeah, first place for us. It'd be a shame if we can't get over the line. Transfer window, it's a tough one. I mean, we secured Raya. I think Calafiori, great buy. Possibly if we get Mourinho, I think you can possibly look at that with having Timber. It feels like it's going to be a transfer window with Timber. I think we can. I'll say right now, I want to give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8 because, as Danny's been saying, our front guys should be able to rotate and score goals. But at the back, those silly goals that we conceded that cost us games, we should be a lot better. So yeah, 8 for transfer window from a defensive point of view.
Most of them silly goals came because of Zinchenko. So if he's not there, hopefully we cut that out.
And that's the thing is, it's no point scoring loads of goals and you're doing foolishness at the back and you stop and you think your centre backs, the way how they played, you had a Golden Glove winner in Raya, and we having to point to left back as to why we lost.
Wasn't it Ben White that got involved in the bust up with Zinchenko, telling him, look, when we're winning 2-0, cut out the crap and just defend.
What to right? I mean, you stop and you think Ben White, he was the leading defender in fantasy. I know. Let's stop and think. The leading defender in fantasy in points. So that's telling you what a season Ben White had when he was scoring goals. So, for Arteta to address that with Calafiori, even how good Kyrgios did play for us, and I thought he did play very well last year. I think from a defensive point of view, I'm going to give the credit. It's not always about the attack. I'm going to give it an 8 for our transfer window. This one's going to be a hard one for me because can Arteta continue improving Saka each year because he hasn't dropped off in his stats? Now, if he ends up being top goal scorer, his run is going to be absolutely ridiculous, off the scale. But then he's gone and changed Havertz to being able to have his best returning goals. I remember, Danny, we had this conversation last year, and you said that he's not a prolific goal scorer, but we're now sitting there a year later, he was our top goal scorer. So
but Havertz had his best season in the Premier League so far.
Yeah, so it's very
and everything.
It's a tough one because if he plays up front, he should get at least 2 goals a game. If he gets at least 2 goals a game, that's your 20 goal a season striker there. I'm going to go Havertz. I think he might just pip Saka this year for the Golden Boot. I think both of them would improve on their goal scoring, but I think Havertz, if he stays fit, he should get the goals needed to become leading goal scorer. And I think that will be a huge feat to have those 2 players continuing their form. And I think along with Martinelli, Jesus, they'll chip in and get a good return. We should have a parade at the end of the season.
Yeah,
it's like I said. Sorry, Apollo. It's like I said to Apollo on Sunday. You think that Jesus and Martinelli only scored 6 goals each last season, but we still scored 91 goals. If them 2 add another 5 each, that's 100 goals.
Yeah,
it is, and I do want to say as well. There is still levels for Saka to reach, because I've always looked at it when Theo Walcott was replaced by Oxlade-Chamberlain, and the goals just completely dried up, like there was nothing there. And I went back and said, hold on, guys, in 6 seasons, Theo scored 70 goals. and Oxlade-Chamberlain scored 8 in 6 seasons. So, and everybody was like, no, but he's a much better player. He's got a brain. Theo ain't got a brain. I was like, you guys are listening to too much talk sport. And then when the change happened, you guys saw it there for all your glory. Just nothing. No assists, no goals, just everything just dried up. And I was just like, what on earth was we thinking of getting rid of Theo Walcott? What was that all about? It didn't benefit us in any way. Even selling Giroud, Walcott, and I know Sanchez went off, but that front three, and it was just electric. And they were all scoring, they were all providing. It was goals by committee. And that's really everything. In one way, I feel sorry for Lacazette because it was all thrown on his back. It was like, this is going to be the guy, you know, he scored 36 goals or something like that in France. This is going to be the guy to get it done. Scored 18 goals in his first season with us, by the way, and then one player of the season at Arsenal. But after that, man, it was just the pressure was just too much. And then we all know about what happened with Pepe and Aubameyang. But it's just like we had a good thing, and why did you change it? Why? Who was asking for that change?
I think the biggest problem with Lacazette, and we see it with Havertz, these guys, if they play up front, they can score goals. It's the dropping into the midfield. We've got to allow the likes of Partey, Rice, control that midfield. You don't need Mans to come back and drop down, because these players that we've had in the past can score goals. They've shown that can score goals. That, for me, if we can allow the midfield to dominate, our strikers will be free to score goals.
So let's go around the clock. So who's going to be you guys' comeback player of the year? And there's plenty of them to go around. Zinchenko. I'm not going to say Ramsdale yet. I'm not going to say that because I truly don't believe that this guy would go and play for Southampton. I just don't. For him, that's just going back to the Sheffield United and Bournemouth. You're going out of the palace and into the caves, and you're supposed to be walking out the caves and walking into the palace. So that just doesn't work for me. And then if the 1st of September comes and Raya breaks his leg, what are you going to do? I just don't think there's too much on it right now. I just can't see it. For me, if I'm Arteta, I'm walking over to him and I'll say, you signed a contract, you're not going anywhere, you're our player. That's what I would say. All of this rubbish. When we played at the preseason against Bayer Leverkusen, he was the first one out the door. Apparently, he didn't even have a shower. When the game finished, he walked straight out into his car, went home. So yeah. So talk to me. Lots of guys there: Zinchenko, Martinelli, Jesus. Who's your choice? What are you looking at? Fabio Vieira. What are you looking at, Gary?
No way.
Hold on. Let Vincey go first because he's itching. He's itching right now.
I think for me, our comeback player of the year is going to be ESR. I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to have to say it. ESR is going to be the comeback player of the year.
It's supposed to be for Arsenal.
I know, but
yeah, I would have said ESR. I was thinking Arsenal player, but Vincey just knocked it out the park, man. I'm going with Vincey.
I'm thinking. You're talking comeback player. Jesus and Martinelli will have to be top goal scorers to be comeback player of the year. Partey would have to score like how Rice scored last year to be.
Partey would just have to stay fit to be comeback player.
Well, that could be.
You can't play well. You ain't got to score loads of goals. It's not about numbers. It's about the changing the opinions of you or turning it around. You know, it's not necessarily about numbers.
It's hard. It's hard. Those players.
It's easy for me. It's easy. It's easy to pick the comeback player of the year. Timber, easy. Timber. He had the worst year of his life last year. It's going to be easy for him to be comeback. All he's got to do is play well.
Coming up there in the chat, everybody's putting their names in.
True. The voice
Timber,
of wisdom.
it's easy.
Voice of wisdom, Danny. Yeah, man.
I'm going to say
Timber will be the guy, but ESR, man. Dream team, trust me.
I hope you're wrong, Vincey.
Okay,
Respectfully.
all right. Which Arsenal player do you think is going to be?
Timber.
I'm going to say Martinelli. I think it's a big season for him. Hopefully he can get it right and score a bag full of goals and assists. You know, he's got to be double, isn't he? He's got to be double assists, double goals, double figures.
So I'm going to go because this is quite ridiculous at the moment that everybody's just throwing this.
If you say Fabio Vera, I'm leaving.
No, you know who I'm going to say. So come on, you know me. You know me long enough to know who I'm going to say. I think the comeback player is going to be Thomas Partey. I think Thomas Partey is going to have a tremendous year and just completely and utterly show why he is the best at what he does in Europe. And I don't know what happened last year, but it was just an atrocity. He had so much he was dealing with, the injury, the personal stuff, and everything that was going on. I see something here where this is the first time where we've been able to have the ability to rotate him in terms of different games where he doesn't have to play every week. And I think that's going to help him. It's going to help Jorginho, and it's going to help Declan Rice and the team as a whole. But I think it's going to be Thomas Partey. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be him. And then don't be surprised if Arsenal offer him another contract at the end of the season when he can go for free.
Please, no.
Emerson says Jesus. Cam says Timber. D says Martinelli. 18 says Fabio Vieira.
18.
All great shouts. All of those names are great shouts. All of them. Martinelli's a great shout. Timber's a great shout. Vieira as well, because he had a rough year last year, man.
The guy hasn't done nothing since he put on an Arsenal shirt, man.
I tell you what, Apollo.
I can see his ability.
You have to point that right back experience that Partey had was the reason why we never saw the Partey that we knew. I think from that moment.
But I did tell you why that happened, didn't I? I spoke to 3 of you, and you're sworn to secrecy because the press don't even know about it. Yeah, so
I know that, but physically, the man, right back at his age, you can't do that in the Premiership, man.
Yeah, and look, yeah, guys, but look, we're making something big really out of nothing, because when we looked at the heat map, I did point out that he was only playing there on the heat map for 18% of the game. 82% of the game he was in the midfield playing as a double pivot. So
he played there under Simeone loads of times. He played under right back for Atletico loads, almost as much as centre mid. Like he flipped between the two. He played centre back for them as well.
I actually think Arteta dealt with that problem really, really well. And then when I actually saw, by the way, the letter that was written by Gabriel to apologise. And it was all water under the bridge, but the press didn't get hold of it. They kept that one really tight. Arsenal do a really good job at keeping stuff inside London Coney, except for, I think the last thing that happened in there was when there was something happened with David Luiz, wasn't it? And it came out.
That's why we got rid of all them Guendouzi's and Lacazettes. That's why they all got kicked out, because there were too many leaks. Remember, there's a big thing about we're going to find the leak.
Something going on. But right now, everything he runs a tight ship, man. So I'm going for Partey. Gary, you said Martinelli.
Gabby.
Oh, Gabby Martinelli, right? Because there's a whole heap of Gabbies in the team. So
Gabby.
And Dan, what about you? Who
you and Timber for me? I think Timber. Just like comeback doesn't have to mean they were crap last year. It just means they've got something to come back from. They've got like something to turn around. And like we were all so gassed when we saw him coming and dinking the ball over people's heads from right back, running through the whole team, like doing crazy, like in that first initial pre-season. And he looked like he was going to be a game changer for us, and then he got injured. And then now he seems to be breaking down a little bit again. I don't know, but if we can get him back playing. But I agree with all of you guys. I think Partey is a great shout, because imagine we have a fit Partey for a whole season. I know it's tempting fate, but imagine how quality that would be. That midfield with Rice and Partey would be unbelievable. And then we've got Marino, and you've also got Jorginho as cover. That's insane, bruv. Like that's That's the maddest midfield
That's
in
the
Europe.
dream. That's the dream,
Yeah.
innit?
The key to keeping a fit Thomas Partey is to manage his workload, right? So you don't want him playing in the Bournemouth game. You want him playing against City. You don't want him playing against Southampton. You want him playing against Liverpool, United. You
Like
want him
what
in
we
the
did with
top 10
Jorginho
games.
last year.
Mm.
Yeah.
He might be one of them guys. He might also be one of them guys where you're like, mate, don't come to training tomorrow. You know them old school guys where them Ledley Kings where it's like, nah, you don't train during the week, mate.
Turn up and play.
Yeah, exactly. You might be one of them guys, so you never know, man.
We'll
But
see you Sunday.
But also,
exactly.
But also, it's a case where when we have chances, if we take them, the game changes. So there's the less pressure in the midfield where they have to work and so forth. So yeah, I think it's a big responsibility on the team. But yeah, to have Partey, all I wanted to see last year was Partey and Rice in the midfield, and Timber. I thought he would be huge. So to have him available, if he can have a season alongside Partey, guys, watch out. We're going to see some football.
If we get 20 games each out of them guys, I'll be gassed. I'll be so gassed because that's really all you can hope for. But 20 games from Partey, 20 from Timber, I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think he said it just reminded the first home match is it this Friday, Emerson? Yeah, you have to let me and Gary know because I got to take care of Gary. Gary, you drive though, don't you? You drive.
I've just been cleared to drive from DVLA. Got the letter today,
that's right. Because if not, I would have had to come and pick you up, so that'd be a long day for me. But if you can drive, that's fine.
Yeah, I've just been cleared.
Okay, cool. All right, and we'll try and get Vincey. Vincey hasn't come down to the under 21 games before. It's a bit of a travel for him though, so I do get it. But yeah, Emerson, let us know whether it's this Friday or the Friday after. Got to try and think. Was something happening this Friday, and I can't remember what it was. Yeah, let us know if it's this Friday. Oh, he said yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm down for that. Let's.
What time's kickoff, Emerson? 7:30 or 7? You're going to say 8 now, aren't you?
Yeah, and guys in the chat, if you can get down to Bournemouth where I live, and it's free tickets to come and see the Arsenal under 21. We picked up 4 or 5 games last season. Me, Gary, and Emerson met down there, had a great time. So if you're not doing nothing, come down. We'll chill out. We'll have a laugh, watch some good football, and just have an evening of it all. So let us know. It would be great fun. And it should be. I'd say Trossard. Yeah, I agree. It's 7 p.m. Oh, the game starts at 7. So I'll probably be down there about maybe just after 6 or something like that.
Yeah. I'm
or if you save me a seat, I'll get down there 6:45.
Emerson's got his own seating area, man.
With his, I might have to give you some money for the West Indian food as well. Some rice, some peas.
Oh, that's good thinking, man. Because there ain't no food there, is there?
No, there's not. I can't do a Bayesian accent like Vincey, but yeah, if you could save me some of that.
So rice and peas.
So
Vincey comes with his own takeaway.
So Vincey, Smith Rowe as a whole, but for Arsenal, who would you go for?
I think it'd just be beautiful to see Timber back. The guy,
he's ridiculous.
The guy's silky. The guy's
So
silky. And, don't be surprised if you see a few goals from Timber this year. The guy knows where the goal is. He can play.
You know what? Saying that, Vincey, right? I can't wait for him to score the winner in some big match, and the headlines is just going to be Timber. I can't wait for that headlines in the papers.
So, guys, this is our last question before we close off for tonight. And I've saved the best until last. And there's a lot of love to go around, man. Hayden, Salah, although I love them too, I think they'll be sent out on loan, but they shouldn't be, because I think both of these guys, Salah, guys, is the best kept secret at Arsenal Football Club right now. Everyone's talking about that Ethan Nwaneri. Bro, the cat's out of the bag with Ethan. Everyone knows his game. But Skelly at left back, he's going to be my choice. I think that he's going to get some games. And I also think that Arteta's going to put him on 80th minute, give him a run out. I think we're going to be surprised the way he's going to move the team around a little bit. Calafiori, as you guys know, came on at centre-back. I have heard rumblings that this is for potential Gabriel Magalhaes move in the future, but I just said they're rumors. They don't take that as fact. Nobody at the ground has told me such a thing. But I'm just saying I've heard rumblings in the fan base that that's the possible reason. I don't think it is, but the fact is he can play there, and he's just a don. He can play anywhere. In fact, look, guys, Timber plays at centre back as well. Ben Rice was a centre back. We're now doing what City's doing.
Ben Rice. Who's this guy? Ben Rice.
Ben Rice.
Ben White, yeah. Ben White. We're now that's a good one. I should get a T-shirt with that one on it. We're now doing what City does, which is play with 4 centre backs. It's just ridiculous. But I'm gonna go off key here, as I always like to do. I'm gonna go with Lewis Skelly. I think he's gonna be my breakthrough young player of the year.
Agreed.
Gary, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, listen, we've been down to see the under-21s a few times. I've been very, very impressed with Lewis Skelly. He's literally like a young Thomas Partey in the middle of the field. The thing I've been impressed most with these youngsters is when they've come on, Nwaneri, Skelly and Salah-Ad-Din, is that they always want to play this ball forward. Their first thought is, can we play forward? You know, there's none of this safety. Oh, we're going to knock it back. We're going to knock it sideways. They want to go forward. Salah-Ad-Din, I don't know if he had, Emerson will probably know. I don't know if he had injuries last year because we didn't see him with the under-21s, or if he was on loan. I'm not sure.
He was on loan. He was on loan. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
When he played in the games in America, he was very, very impressive.
So good.
I've liked Aidan Heaven since I saw him in the under-21s. Big, strong. Was a central midfielder, got converted into a centre back by Arsenal. So yeah, you know, and that, obviously Josh Nichols, as Dee's mentioned there, he looks very sound at right back as well. Very young kid, only 17, very small, but looks good in the tackle. Against Leverkusen, he put in a massive 50, 60-yard sprint to get the overlap onto Saka. So yeah, the future looks bright for these kids, and hopefully Arteta can fit them in somewhere along the line. I'm not talking about like these dumb 30-second business. Give them 5-10 minutes. No, these games where we're cruising and we're outside.
Yeah, you get 3-0 up. Yeah, I agree.
Get them on. Let them see what they can do. Because that's how players are made, right? They're not going to learn nothing from 30 seconds and not coming on and not touching the ball.
Exactly.
You know?
But before I go to Dan, let me read the comments with you guys. D says Salah is nice. Bro, let me tell you something, yeah? When I was in my school days, when I was doing the Watford thing, and you just looked at what they were looking for. What these clubs are looking for is a player who can plug the gaps, he can support the defense, he sniffs out danger, he's intercepting passes, you're cutting out the passing lines, gap play for most of you guys who know coaching. He's got all of that. He's got all of that. But it's his ball retention. That's the thing, guys. Like, when I go to the under-21 games, I sit down with Gary and Emerson. We talk about the game, right? Because it's a much more fast-paced game. But why is it like that? It's like that because in the Premier League, you can't play that fast-paced way because the guys in the Premier League are so good at ball retention that if you rush them constantly, they would make you look silly. And then they would punish you on the counter. So that's the reason why that's a very careful thing. But at the under-21 level, the only difference between really that and the pro game is that they're not as good with their ball retention. And then when they're pressed, they make mistakes. So that's the reason why you see the flurriness in that game. And it's a very exciting game to watch, very fast-paced. But it's because they haven't had the level to look after the ball in possession as well as they do in the pro stage. But I have to say, this guy against Liverpool and Liverpool starters, by the way, may I mention, this guy was holding onto the ball. He was turning. He was looking to see what was going on. He was keeping it simple. And he was recycling. Nothing too overcomplicated. Man, he looked good. I was sitting with Gary watching the game and Tony. I was like, this guy right here, Salah. Whoa, this guy, Salah. This guy,
Yeah,
man.
he looked a player. Emerson, where was he on loan? Because I know
Dan
Emerson's
Bosch
going to know the answer.
in Holland. He was on loan in the first division in Holland, like not the Eredivisie, the one below that.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Emerson's
he
gone
he played a few games for them. So he's playing against grown men in a second division in Holland, like where they're kicking lumps out of you and all that. It's not a joke. So that's why he's come back looking super composed
Well,
against adults.
there was against Liverpool when he played. He actually lost the ball. Where the ball broke, probably about 20 yards back behind him, he turned, put in the energy sprint, went into the tackle, strong, won the ball back, and straight away used the ball well. So that was impressive to see from a young kid.
Yeah, and so Emerson says Aiden or Noga. That's a good call. And if anybody would know, guys, it's Emerson. He pretty much knows the under-21 scene better than all of us. So I always respect his view and his opinions. And that's who he's going for to make a shine in the team this year. D's going for Wanyeri. Cam is saying Salah. 18's going for Lewis Skelly as well. So Den Bosch, I think he's put that down because of something
That's where he was on loan. Yeah, that's where Salah was on loan.
And answered it.
Yeah, I just sold Norton, Cuffy, Shane. We liked him as well. Yeah, we sold a lot of players, man, and a lot of this we knew because Emerson said, "Guys, get ready, man. The guillotine is about to drop." So we was kind of prepared for it. But when I look at who we've kept and brought into the first team, I ain't gonna be too mad at you. And there was a comment one of you guys made. I think it was about Martins, wasn't it? Let's see if I can find it. I don't think I can. And anyway, look, he went to Man United because that was his dream. We did everything we could to keep him. And look, you don't play a 16-year-old 30 grand a week. You just don't. There's just no ethical. You just don't do it.
It wasn't only the 30 grand a week. He's now, as I read in something a couple of days ago, he's now the third choice striker at Man United, and he was never going to get that at Arsenal.
No, never. And how are United do? I just don't know how United are doing that. They're putting all their eggs in one basket with him, and he's raw, guys. He got a long way to go, but I wish him all the best, man. But like I said, don't hate about it, guys, because we did everything we could to keep him, just like we did with Amari Hutchison, Vincey.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're saying you don't give 30k for a 16-year-old, but if United allowed this guy to develop and get minutes and experience, next season or the season after, you could be turning into a young Haaland. And because he's got that height, he's got that ability. So I think sometimes we've got to look at talent and whether or not you're prepared to give that talent the room to grow, because he is the future. So, unfortunately, if we didn't have the likes of, we got rid of Balogun, but we've still got Eddie. If we didn't have Eddie, you could see there's room for us to keep hold of that type of player. But that's the problem. We don't have that. And we haven't shown that where he's... And I understand he's a United fan, but he's got ability. The guy has ability. And if he's been given that room to grow, he could be a huge player once he matures in his early 20s.
I think there's a massive difference between scoring goals as a 16-year-old in under 18s, and Eddie was top goal scorer for the under 21s, but he hasn't really he hasn't really set the Premier League on fire. He's done a decent job, but he hasn't set the Premier League on fire, and he was scoring goals for fun for the under 21s.
We've had loads of guys like that as well.
Yeah, and I swear by Eddie, I think if you started Eddie throughout a whole season, you'd be surprised. But anyway,
think about even going back to that Chuba Akpom and who's the other Balogun you brought up. Like, we've had loads of these guys where they were absolutely banging in goals, like ridiculous record-breaking numbers. Eddie Nketiah himself is a record-breaker goal scorer for England, taking Alan Shearer's record. And then he's never going to be Alan Shearer. I don't care. Give him a whole season. Give him 10 seasons. He's not going to be Alan Shearer. So you can never tell with these youngsters. So I don't know, man. I think 30 grand is a bit is a bit
Time
much for
will tell,
an
won't it?
unproven
Yeah, I think that's the minimum. I think that's the minimum requirement. But I think the thing is, with as Vincey was making his point out about Obi Martin, it was just the fact that he was promised the position, and then they threw the money, and so it was a whole plethora of these different things. And he was a fan. We just couldn't match it. And I would have loved to be in the room with Tim Lewis when he'd be talking to Edu about this, and they would be just like, look, we've done everything we can to sign him. B, we've offered him a 15 grand a week contract when at that level we pay 6,000. So, you know, if you start to give him more, then you're going to have to give everybody else more. So there was all these different things that they were ticking off, and they were just like, yeah, here's our stopping point. We're just going to stop there. And if we're not going to get him, we're not going to get him and move on. So I think that's what it was really at the end of the day. Emerson says, for the panel, how many goals do you think Obi Martin will get this season? None.
Yeah, I'll answer this one. I don't care.
Yeah, I think they just bought Xerxes. They've got the big man up top. And they've got, what's the midfielder, the attacking midfielder who can play? Inacho, yeah, they've got him. Yeah, they've got him that can play there as well. I don't think he even gets on the pitch. If he gets on the pitch, I would be surprised. I would be, because the thing is, look, they sold him a dream. They've got.
They'll play him.
They'll
play. It's Man United, man. They always give these youths a chance. Like they'll play him in a.
You think so? Wow.
In a Carling Cup or something. They did it with Mason Greenwood. You know, they don't. I mean, play him.
We saw Rudy at 16 years old, but if you're good enough, you're old enough. It's not the age that matters. And
you might be right.
He didn't even get 1 minute in the Charity Shield or Community Shield, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
he didn't even get 1 minute.
You
know,
madness,
he couldn't even get a game for Holland in the Euros. He was third choice striker for Holland.
All right, guys, closing comments. Gary, what's your thoughts before this weekend's game? By the way, guys, I'll have a preview up on the channel for the Wolves game probably Thursday. I'll try and get on with it then. And then Saturday in the game, probably going to be Gary and Tony, Vincey, and the guys with you. I'll be at the Emirates doing my vlog there. Yeah, so we've got you covered for the whole weekend's football. What's your thoughts? Final thoughts, Gary, for you season?
Yeah, goes and comments. Happy with the transfer of business we've done. If there's to be one more surprise big move, then I'm excited to see what it could be. If it's a Gulquerez, or I think Osimhen's out the window now, or a Coman. Looking forward to the season. I think we've improved in the areas where we was lacking a little bit. Left-sided 8, left back. So maybe that will in turn help Martinelli improve his numbers, or whoever plays on the left improve their numbers. Calafiori looks a signing. Timber, again, it's always difficult when you come back from that kind of injury. And you normally pick up one or two other injuries when you're trying to come back. I just think Arteta's got to get certain things right, like managing players' workloads, Partey, Timber. You know, don't rush them, don't overplay them. Saka is another one. Odegaard is another one. He's got to get a lot of things right. And we saw progression in his management last season. And I think this season he's just got to go that little bit more just to make sure players are rested well. You've got cover for players, and I think we can go all the way this year. So let's get it underway on Saturday with a nice win, and we go from there.
Yeah, Danny, what's your thoughts? Closing comments for you as well, mate.
I echo what Gary says, man. I just think we've got a good opportunity this year, but I think all of us should just try and enjoy it, man. Like, stop putting expectation on everything. Just enjoy the football. We're playing good. We're a good side once again. We've wanted this for like 20 years. Let's just chill, enjoy the football. If we don't beat this team, like, you know who I mean, City, it's like, what can you do, bro? Like, I don't think people grasp the gravity of what a monumental task it is to beat a team like Man City with what they've done. Like, let's not drag it over. But with what they've done to beat that is mad. It's like I said, it's like racing It's like racing Usain Bolt if we had a blood transfusion with
No,
Ben
I think
Johnson.
you got it right
It's
the
like,
first time, Ben Johnson, because of the
nah, I'm
115
talking about
charges. Yeah,
Usain Bolt with
yeah,
Ben Johnson's blood inside him. It's like that. It's like some. You imagine sticking Usain Bolt on steroids, 9.24 new world record.
yeah.
That's what we're playing against.
4 titles
You know?
in a row, 6 in the last 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, blood. So it's like just enjoy the football. I think we'll be there or thereabouts. It could go either way. Football is mad like that, isn't it? Like we could be top all year, like we were last a couple years ago, and then we get nowhere. So let's just enjoy it, man. And we will be smacking teams up again this year. You know what? That's what I want to see. I want to see from Arsenal. You see that period after the new year when we went on a record-breaking run of away wins and we started smashing every team 5-6-0. I want to see that from the beginning, because that's last year. The one critique I had is I thought we started a bit too slow. We needed to start slower than the year before, but we were too slow last year. Like Saka didn't get going for ages. Like, nah, man, let's all kick in early, but don't blow your load. You know, like start for quick and then maintain for the season, and then hopefully we can do it.
Yeah, before I go to Vincey, for me, guys, it's David Raya, man. I'm a big David Raya fan. And he had 16 clean sheets last year. But you want to hear the joke? He only played 32 games. Like all the other goalkeepers in their teams played 37, 38. He had a clean sheet in half of the games that he played. And it was just like the defense, the way they talk about him is like, this guy's got total control of what we do. And I think that disrupted us slightly because we saw the flurry going on, didn't we? We saw all the mess that was going on. It was disrupting his game. It was disrupting Ramsdale's game, and nobody was really settled. And it wasn't until the new year where you really saw the true him. And I think that that's going to be something that is going to change us a lot, because when you look back at his record with Brentford, he was statistically easily the best goalkeeper, best shot percentage, best distribution, best on coming out of crosses. I mean, no one was close. People talking about Edison, they only talk about Edison and Alisson because they won titles. If you actually looked at the stats, shot percentage, which, by the way, guys, is calculated for every 200 shots, Edison 14th, Alisson 9th. So these guys are average at saving shots, but yet people talk about them like they're the best. Edison's the best goalie. No, they're not the best goalkeeper. There's no statistical proof of that. The only proof is that their team won the title and they didn't have much to do because City was so good in the midfield. So they faced the less shots, and the ones that they did face, they didn't do a great job in handling them. And so that you look at a team like Brentford, Ray has done his bit, and look, Arteta's wanted to get him for years, man. Since 2021, he's been trying to get that goalkeeper. So that's it for me. That's my closing comments. Vincey?
Man, I just love seeing this kit at the start of the season, man. It just looks really nice. The sun's out. I'm just looking forward to, as Danny says, a quick start. I think that's what we need. We need to get the confidence up, take those chances. We take those chances, the game becomes a lot easier. And then Arteta can rotate players around up front in positions and manage. I think those are the key things that he needs to do. If you can manage them early, you can minimize injuries. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Don't forget, on Friday, those who are in for the ballot is for the next Arsenal tickets. So I'm going to try and so I've missed the first few games. I've just been busy, so I can't get no tickets. But yeah, those who are looking to get tickets for the ballot, try and get it booked into your calendar so you don't miss out, so you get a notification. But this Friday is the next ones that you can get.
Yeah, remind me as well, because I've got a second, I've got a silver membership as well, which I've had for about 12 years and hardly ever used it. I tried to make an effort to use it last year, but they changed the balloting system, guys. For most of you, what Arsenal used to do is, with 60,000 seats, 3,000 goes to away fans, 44,000 goes to season tickets, and then with the rest, guys, which is 13,000 tickets, they put it up on the website. But when they do that, the silver members were the ones who got first dibs. And then the red ticket members would get the scraps. But because the red memberships were complaining that sometimes they'd never get any tickets at all, what they decided to do was the ballot system now, which doesn't work out for me as a silver card holder as well. I'm a gold member. I'm a season ticket holder. I have been since the stadium opened in 2007. But my second season ticket, which is the silver, it's worthless now, because what they do is it's now a 10% chance to get a ticket on a red and a 29% chance to get a ticket on a silver. And I went into the ballot as a silver last season 8 times and never got a single ticket. Whereas in the old system, I would have had first dibs and got 8 tickets out of 8 times trying to get it. So what they've done is they try to spread the wealth so the red members can get in, and it is what it is. Whether I say it's fair or not doesn't really matter. All it means is that my silver is pretty much useless. And I don't know whether they've tinkered with it, because silver members are complaining. It's like silver members, remember, guys, are kind of priority members. To get a silver, you have to be a red member for 10 years, for a decade. That's the only time you can qualify, and then you have to wait for it to be offered to you. So it's kind of like a privilege ticket to get a silver, but it's worth nothing at the moment. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's it from us tonight. Danny, thanks for joining us. Really, really great. I love talking football with you, man. We just don't talk enough.
Trust me, man. Very, very, very busy, but I'll try to make more time, man. I'll try.
Yeah, and then the other thing, Danny, is even if you've got a spare half an hour on a Tuesday or something, just hit me up, and then at least we can catch up. I did it last season with Neomis a little. Neomis is all over the place, man. I talked to Neomis this morning. He's now 7 hours behind us or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh.
The time difference to where he is now in British Columbia is worse than when he was in Ontario. So it's really, before it was 4 hours and we could kind of manage it. Now it's all over the place. So that's why, guys, I know some of you love Neomis. That's why he hasn't been on the channel for quite a while. But I will try to get some weekend stuff done with him, and then we'll just have to play it by ear. But yeah, Danny, anytime on a probably a Thursday night, because I swim on a Thursday, a Thursday after 10 p.m. or something, or on a Tuesday, anytime you got a first half an hour, jump on and we'll just talk about the week events. Yeah, we'll just have a little bit of a bash.
Yeah, man.
And a catch up. All right, guys, all the best. Thanks for today, and the season opens, man. This is it, guys. It's starting, and we're gonna get it done. Yeah, the gates are open.
Big up yourself. Enough love, guys.
Excellent.
See you later, guys.
Wicked.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Right.